And with that, I'd like to invite Coursera CEO Jeff Maggioncalda and our Senior Director of Product, Shwetabh Mittal, to kick off the session with their keynote presentation. Over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Raghav, and welcome everyone. It is, as usual, an incredible array of professionals coming together to collaborate and share ideas about what the future might look like and what we might do to prepare for it. I'm just looking at my chat screen. I don't think I've ever seen in sequence an audience that says India, Asia, Philippines, Kenya, Egypt, and Kentucky. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to participate in this event, to hear what is being said, but also to share your own experiences and your own solutions that you're finding in these very difficult times. I'm confident that coming together like this is the best way to surmount the kinds of challenges that many schools are facing today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the state of the world and a little bit about a new announcement that we're making today. And then Shwetabh, our product manager, is going to talk a bit about some of the new product enhancements that we are announcing today on the first anniversary of Coursera for Campus. First, let me start a bit with Coursera. We think of our platform as a learning ecosystem, a place where people come together to provide universal access to world-class learning. We really bring together learners, educators, and institutions to work together to provide educational opportunities. Today, we have 72 million learners on Coursera who come to learn and prosper. We now have 150 university partners who've authored over 4,000 courses across many different disciplines. And we are very proud to also include 50 top industry partners who are authoring more skills relevant and technology relevant courses using some of their technologies. And then finally, 5 years ago, Coursera launched Coursera for Business. It was the first approach of offering Coursera to institutions. We started with business. We now have over 2,000 businesses who we are helping to upskill and reskill their employees. And as Shwetabh will discuss, what we're learning from working with real employers and real employees, and we're talking about software engineers and product managers, finance specialists, bookkeepers, and operations managers. We're learning what skills companies are looking for because we're doing the job of helping to train many of those people. We're excited to integrate into Coursera for Campus the kinds of skill sets that real employers are looking for to make it easier for students to understand what it will take to make them employable down the road. A year after launching Coursera for Campus, we launched Coursera for Government. Today, we have over 300 governments working with us, especially driven by a program that we launched during COVID called the Workforce Recovery Initiative that runs through 2020. And then a year ago, we launched Coursera for Campus. In February, we launched it in October of 2019. In February, we had about 30 customers. Today, after working with our partners to make Coursera for Campus available free through September 30th, we now have almost 4,000 universities using Coursera for Campus, and they have activated over 11,000 different instances across all the schools and colleges that are using Coursera for Campus. So we're very, very excited about our ability to help in these challenging times and also to learn how universities are using the software and the content and to make upgrades and make improvements to better meet your needs. So Coursera really is in a pretty unique position to see into learners and educators and institutions, and we hope to share that with you today. I mentioned we work with 150 top universities. These are universities that span the globe, primarily in the US and in Europe, but we have over 10 university partners in Latin America. We have about 10 in Russia, about 10 in China. We have a growing number of partners in India, and we continue to expand the number of partners who publish in our public catalog on Coursera.org. We've seen tremendous growth during COVID. Today, we're at about 72 million learners around the world, and the growth rates year on year have been fairly extraordinary. A year ago today, there were about 5 million learners in India on Coursera. In just the last 7 months, that has about doubled, and we're now at 10 million active learners in India, and you can see in the lower left corner some of the top representation among countries and learners on Coursera. The catalog continues to grow. So the three core domains represented in the catalog are business, technology, and data science. But we've really been expanding with our partners the content that's available in healthcare. And we're hearing daily from universities about additional content that they would like to have on the platform in domains like psychology, law, and many other non-technical domains as well. We launched in Q1 guided projects. You're going to hear quite a bit about that today. These are hands-on projects that students seem to love. We went from 0 to 600 today. We'll be at 1,000 guided projects by the end of this year. Over 4,000 courses, 150,000 individual lecture videos, and now over 400,000 assessments that are useful to make sure that the students taking these courses are actually meeting the learning objectives of the course authors. Now, clearly, it's been a challenging time for higher education. Even before COVID, when you look in the United States, and this is in 2018, fewer than half of the universities had ever done any kind of online education. And that's at the institution level. Looking in 2019 at US faculty, fewer than 50% of faculty had ever taught an online course. And they were in an environment where increasingly today, with the high unemployment rates, employers are concerned that many students who graduate don't have the kinds of skills that they're looking for. And so we just have a few statistics here in terms of some surveys from businesses. But what's happening too is the world is changing faster and faster. And keeping up with the new knowledge requirements and the new skill requirements, all the software tools that are becoming available, the new techniques in machine learning and deep learning that are so important for business, it's changing so quickly that skills are becoming not only outdated, but new skills are emerging very rapidly. So it's hard to keep up as an educational institution. And in that landscape, COVID hits. UNESCO has been tracking educational access around the world. They were also tracking the number of school closures. As of April 20th of 2020, 1.6 billion students around the world from kindergarten through college saw their schools closed. It was 90% of all students in the world across over 190 countries. And it really was a very urgent and difficult time for universities because they had to essentially move online immediately. And so what COVID has done is it has created a category of challenges that are unprecedented in higher education. And I think will only be addressable through collaboration and sharing, and also, frankly, a lot of online technology and a lot of hard work. Some of the challenges that we're hearing universities talk about that you'll probably hear more from our panelists today include really a focus on student employability. Lots of students are wondering, can they afford to go to school? Will the investment that they make in an education right now pay off in a job opportunity when they graduate? Schools are really looking at trying to reduce their variable costs. They're worried about potentially dropping enrollments. And so they're thinking about how can we lower the cost of delivering for-credit learning to our students so that we don't need to lower the tuition, but we can nevertheless lower the costs of delivering the degree learning that is so important to the students. Another one in many regions of the world is capacity. For instance, in India, the government is interested in bumping up the gross enrollment ratio. That's the percentage of students who start formal education after high school from 25% to 33% in the next 5 years. Simply cannot build enough universities to meet the capacity. So the question is, can we use technology to dramatically expand the capacity of university operations? Faculty are now in a new world of online learning, helping to teach faculty what this new world looks like and how to teach effectively online is another major challenge. And then finally, in a world changing quickly, there's really a premium on being recognized as an innovative university. And you'll hear from many such universities today who are at the leading edge of pioneering what's next in education, and particularly in online education. As the coronavirus went global, we worked with our partners to launch what we called the Campus Response Initiative. We launched it on March 12th and saw amazing uptake. We now have over 3,700 unique institutions who are using Coursera for Campus across the Americas, North and South America, across Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, across India and the Asia Pacific region as well. And when we look at the totals right now are pretty staggering. Just since March 12th, 2.4 million students through the Campus Response Initiative have had access and have taken free courses. They've enrolled in over 20 million open courses through Coursera for Campus. And interestingly, and Shwetabh will talk about this today, the usage of mobile by students is much, much higher than the usage of mobile on Coursera generally. So letting students access online learning with a mobile device, being able to download content and watch it offline, especially when they have limited connectivity, is turning out to be a very important part of making sure that there is social equity in the way that we deliver online learning, and that ideally we can bridge the digital divide between those who have better access to connectivity and devices and those who have less such access. So Coursera for Campus has been growing fairly rapidly. Many universities who started with the free version of Coursera have now decided to really make online learning a core part of their overall learning and teaching experience. What we have seen so far in the Americas is some really good examples. One is Boise State, who's with us here today, Gordon Jones. Boise State University is currently rolling out Coursera as the online course backbone offered to students who opted to take a gap year, as many are this year. They're offering 5 tracks for students to choose their path. UPC in Peru is a leading university with over 50,000 students. Known as an innovator in the region, they're committed to providing their students with access to a world-class education. UPC is using Coursera's standalone courses for credit and also in a blended format so that their faculty can integrate cutting-edge materials into their courses. The University of Jeddah is in Saudi Arabia, and they started using Coursera for Campus through the COVID-19 initiative back in May. They anticipated a big change towards distance learning in the post-COVID world, and they partnered with Coursera to provide an innovative e-learning program for their 18 colleges aligned with future skills. These are skills like leadership, entrepreneurship, and data analysis. And they deem these skills to be essential in the Vision 2030 program, which is the government national strategic framework for Saudi Arabia. Africa Nazarene has a goal to develop as a global educational brand. They chose Coursera to infuse work skills into all elements of their teaching and to expand their offerings in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data literacy. In just 4 weeks, more than 1,100 students have enrolled in over 4,400 courses. Chandigarh University is one of the top-ranked young private universities. 20,000 of their students across multiple disciplines like engineering, management, allied health, and many other domains will be building the skills of the future under the Coursera for Campus program. And Symbiosis International University is one of India's leading educational institutions, imparting quality education for over 30 years with 37 academic institutions spread across 9 campuses with a student population of about 18,000. Symbiosis is partnering with Coursera for streams such as management and law to develop the students on critical skills that prepare them for the future. So we have lots of different examples of how institutions, namely universities, are using Coursera for Campus. We'll hear more about that in detail. And even as institutions embraced Coursera for Campus and our workforce discovery program with the government offering through 2020, individuals have flocked to online learning in unprecedented numbers. Our enrollments this year since mid-March are up 58 million, almost 500%. Enrollments from learners who are new to Coursera are up about 600%. When we look at what they're doing, students are really looking for job relevant skills. So when we look at the Coursera for Campus program and the 2 million students who've been taking courses, you can see here some of the top courses. Universities of Michigan's Programming for Everyone in Python has over 500,000 students taking that course. And you can see some of the trending skills, again, among students who are on Coursera. They're learning artificial neural networks, algorithms, graphic design, JavaScript, and a range of additional skills that they believe will be important for their future career potential. I mentioned guided projects. Guided projects have been a big hit with individuals. The courses that are available from our university partners often represent some of the best state-of-the-art education and pedagogy that teaches the theory and the concepts of cutting-edge techniques. What guided projects do is they marry to that theory hands-on practice. So guided projects runs inside of Coursera Labs. It's a way that any student or any learner can use actual hands-on software to build projects. On the right side of the screen, there's an instructor screen, the instructor's face and their audio, and their screenshot is available on the left side of the browser with no download involved. The student has an identical desktop and they can build a project step by step by following along the instructor's guidance. So far, we've seen almost 2 million course enrollments, 1.5 million, project enrollments, 1.5 million guided project enrollments among students. So clearly for what we're seeing, students are the most active population using guided projects. And I won't read through them, but you can see some of the most popular guided projects that students are taking on Coursera. A lot on HTML, building websites, and writing programs in Python. So today we are announcing a number of things. Shwetabh will actually cover some of the new product feature enhancements. What we are also going to be announcing in our press release this morning is the availability on an ongoing permanent basis of Coursera for Campus in 3 basic pricing plans. The core plan, which we call the institution plan, has all the features that are required for a university to deliver Coursera courses, our partners courses on Coursera with credit-bearing learning, academic integrity, private authoring, and other types of features. But we're also offering, as we wind down the COVID-free period, we're offering a permanent free version of Coursera for Campus for all degree-granting institutions indefinitely. We call this the basic plan. It allows students to take unlimited numbers of guided projects and 1 course enrollment per year so that faculty and administrators can experiment with Coursera for Campus and see if it's right for their institution. There's also a plan called the student plan so that students, even if the university doesn't sign up, students can get access to free guided projects and 1 course enrollment per year. Of course, in the institution plan, all the functionalities available, unlimited guided projects, unlimited course enrollments, and private authoring, which Shwetabh will talk about, and much enhanced academic integrity features that Shwetabh will also talk about as well. So we're excited about where we are and to share some of what we've been doing. And with that, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Shwetabh Mittal, who's going to talk a little bit about some of our big product innovations that we're announcing today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for making time today. And I'm really excited to talk about the biggest areas of product investment for Coursera for Campus. A lot has happened in the last year. So first and foremost, robust academic integrity for the online learning environment. Second, content and curriculum to complement and supplement faculty and campus curriculum. Third, a skills-first learning experience to help students get ready for the job market. And fourth, a mobile experience that can truly help bridge the digital divide. Great, so I'm just having some trouble with clicking. So first, the academic integrity. The academic rigor of an online experience is top of mind for every educator around the globe. And we're making significant investments in this area to stop learners from cheating online. We've integrated plagiarism detection and deterrence right within the product experience through deep integrations with Turnitin, which is an industry standard used in a lot of universities around the globe. We have also launched the ability for your faculty to author private exams for their students. And very shortly, we'll be enhancing this functionality with question banks to help your faculty create exams with less effort. And finally, we'll also be launching online proctoring for high stakes exams. The very same proctoring experience that is used in fully online degrees on Coursera that can be used for your students when they're taking end of semester exams or middle of semester exams. Next is Curriculum Builder. So our catalog, as Jeff pointed, of content is really expanding rapidly. And we launch more than 600 courses per year and more than 1,000 guided projects per year. With Curriculum Builder, we'll provide your faculty a quick map to match their teaching needs with one or multiple of our courses and guided projects that can be incorporated to fill gaps and introduce essentially new curriculum areas on campus. All of this will be contextualized for the faculty and department by disciplines and difficulty levels that are the backbone of a university education system, essentially reducing the friction for faculty to understand which content to use as part of their on-campus curriculum, since they're so diverse across different countries around the globe. Next is private authoring. Campuses around the globe have been reacting quickly to COVID and developing their digital strategy for the next decade. And the scale of this movement is unlike anything we've seen in the past in the global education system. Any solution that can be meaningful in this movement would have to scale to millions of learners globally. And that's why we've launched our scalable authoring platform to all of our customers. And this is the very same authoring experience that is used by our university partners and industry partners to teach millions of students globally, sometimes millions of students in a single course. So as a Coursera for Campus customer, paid customer, you are now able to author private courses, guided projects, and assessments privately for your university. And this could mean that within a course, you have some readings, some videos, some guided projects, and essentially combine all of them to create a blended experience for your students. And this gives you a very powerful ability to start with the public content on Coursera, available through our MOOCs and thousands of guided projects, but then blend it together with your own digital private content as you're starting to blend the content from Coursera with specific content that you need for your university students. So we all care deeply about learners and students' job outcomes. And this is the very foundation of Coursera. And this is, from what we've heard, is a big part of what educators think about their students every day. The skills of tomorrow are evolving fast, and their shelf life is decreasing equally rapidly. And to help learners, students, and employers adapt to this change, we've launched a skills-first learning experience with skill sets and academies. And this experience really helps learners approach learning in a skills-first manner. We have built this experience based on our data insights from 70+ million learners across the globe and more than 3,000 employers that use Coursera to upskill and reskill their employees. This means that using this experience, your students will be able to understand the skills that are needed for jobs. They'll be able to learn the skills needed for these jobs through courses on Coursera. And then they'll be able to showcase these skills as they've learned on Coursera to prepare for the job market and showcase their skills to be attractive in the job market as they prepare to graduate. Last but not least, the digital divide is becoming a tragic reality for many students across the globe, be it due to lack of right device or due to internet access or other socioeconomic factors. And we believe that our mobile experience can help reduce this gap for many students. Students can download and access all learning materials such as videos and transcripts offline. This means that they can make progress even if they get access to the internet only once a day, or even in some extreme cases, once a week. And we're actively working on providing more ways to reduce the data needs for online learning through things like significant video compression, audio and text-only download modes. So there is a lot of more exciting updates to come here that will reduce the burden for students' data needs. And watch out this section for more exciting updates to come. Thank you. And with that, I'll move it over to Raghav for some questions.
Thank you, Shwetabh. Thank you, Jeff. That was wonderful for us to hear. If I could request Jeff to come on video as well. There are a number of comments and questions coming in both in the Q&A window and on chat. I'd love to at least cover 3 questions, if not more. And the first question I'd like to start with, you spoke about how jobs have been impacted by COVID as well. And so how are you thinking about aligning the content on Coursera to the skills that industry is asking for, especially post-COVID? And what acceptance do you see amongst industry members for skills built and credentials earned online?
Well, I'll say that what we're seeing still, and I think this is going to continue, employers really do value university and college degrees. I don't think that that's going away. In fact, I think as technology automates more of the routine, predictable, repeatable jobs, a premium on knowledge and credentials that show that you have that knowledge will be important. So I think there's going to be a lot of demand for college degrees off into the distant future. With respect to skill sets, we're just touching the surface in this event right here. As you can probably imagine, we have an event that we do with companies around the world associated with our Coursera for Business platform. And the one slide that Shwetabh showed on skill sets that shows for a given role, what skills are required at what levels of proficiency, that is becoming a main way that we approach upskilling and reskilling in companies. The neat thing about skill sets is we can bring them from the business world, which is where we actually pioneered them. We're actually talking with hundreds and thousands of companies who are saying, I want my software engineers to have these skills. I want my staff senior engineers to have these skills. I want my digital marketers to have these skills. So they're actually specifying, the companies are specifying which skills at which level of proficiency they want their employees to have. And then what we do with our partners' content is we create learning paths to upskill their employees. We can measure the skill development and we can say these employees have met this target set of skills for your requirements. What we're doing is we're taking those skill sets from the business world and we're pointing them towards the students so that a student can literally see in the financial services industry in Europe, if I want to be a data analyst, what skills do actual data analysts in the financial services industry in Europe actually have? And how can I earn those skills? So we think there's a wonderful synergy between Coursera for Business and Coursera for Campus that really links together using these skill sets. And we're going to be continuing to grow not only the number of skill sets, but also the content from our university and industry partners to make sure that those learning paths can develop those skills. Another thing, by the way, in Coursera for Campus that we didn't show, but there's a whole administrator's dashboard where your administrators and professors can actually see which skills are being developed among your students. You can look at the progression of skills and you can benchmark the skill levels of your students in certain job categories against the skill levels of actual employees who have those jobs outside of the university setting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. The second question I'd like to come to, and Shwetabh, this is to you. The Coursera for Campus student and basic plans that were just announced were really helpful to see. Till when will these be available? And also, could you share a little bit more about what are the academic integrity features that will be available, that you kind of spoke about? A little bit more detail would be helpful. I would request you to keep it brief though. Over to you, Shwetabh.
Got it. So for the Coursera for Campus basic and student version, we are hoping that this will be a durable offering available for the foreseeable future. We don't intend to restrict it. And in terms of, so keeping it short, in terms of the academic integrity features, we have launched the Turnitin integration, which essentially allows the administrators and faculty to see if there is cheating going on and to create penalty workflows for students who have cheated and get the proof points. We've also launched private authoring so that universities and faculty can create their own exams, digital exams on Coursera that can be for their own students, and any concerns they might have about, answers being available on the internet, these are going to be private exams. So students will only see it during the examination time at the very end. And then in addition, we'll also be launching online proctoring for these high stakes end of the semester exams where students can be monitored online for what kind of activity they are doing when they're taking the exam. So we'll be launching that in Q1. So a lot has already been launched here and more coming soon in the next 2 quarters.
Perfect, thank you. And the last question that I'd love to pose to Jeff, so higher education regulation has a large role to play, and for credit learning is important as well, right? So how are you seeing for credit learning happening across universities that have been using Coursera? And from a regulatory compliance standpoint, what are you seeing, with universities using Coursera for Campus? If you could share some experiences there.
There's been a really dynamic feedback loop between governments and universities and back to governments, and then across countries from certain governments to other governments. It's one of the really exciting things about being at Coursera is we can see on a global basis the kind of innovation that's happening. When you look at India and you look at the mandate that the government has put out to bump up that gross enrollment ratio and the role that online learning needs to play, clearly the government is encouraging online learning. With that kind of encouragement, faculty and administrators in universities across India are doing some of the most innovative things with using Coursera for Campus. They use the courses that our partners have authored blended into their current course setting where they basically use it almost as courseware as part of the course that they're teaching. And then many universities are also using it on a standalone basis, almost like independent study, where they will say to a student, go take this course or the series of courses, say a specialization. Maybe they'll write a private assessment so that they can make sure that the learning objectives are met. But essentially, the student is awarded credit for doing work purely on Coursera without actually being part of a broader class. We call that standalone. What's interesting is that in Latin America, we're also seeing an awful lot of uptake in Coursera for Campus and some very similar innovative uses. And I think what's happening is, to some degree, as universities learn how they might use this type of content, policymakers are seeing the effects of that. And so I think, in a sense, the innovation is happening across countries. As the innovation happens, the governments can see some of the benefits of the scale and quality at a very affordable cost that's possible. And that is then spurring some of the policymakers to move a little bit more quickly than they might have. So collaboration and innovation is happening among the universities and the policymakers alike, and it's happening across countries.
Thank you. It's fascinating to see how the current period is pushing us all towards change. Thank you so much for the keynote,